Howdy folks, I'm Adventurous Advent Calendar, actively achieving amazing achievements.
I'm Amber.
And here are more achievements for us to achieve, like reading Reddit. That's an achievement in itself. Oh yeah, Amber wants to tell us about our new theme.
So we're doing an advent calendar, 25 days up to Christmas. So we got little winter and Christmassy things to bring us there.
Yeah, let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for making sure that my brother and his wife were locked outside of my house for 3 hours before I got home? Backstory, I love my brother and his wife. They're great, gregarious, popular, lovely people. But they can also be selfish and thoughtless in ways that I don't seem to understand. A couple of months ago, they moved to Manchester from London, where I live. My partner and I made the long drive up to visit, planning the trip weeks in advance. We could only stay one night when we arrived, but we went for a drink at their local pub and then went back to their place for a South African barbecue. Rugby was on, and they had a friend over to watch. So we spent the evening drinking, eating, and watching the game. I'd hoped that we would talk more, but they went to bed early. The next morning, we woke up planning to suggest breakfast and a walk around Manchester, and said we got hit with a, "So, what time are you leaving?" We stalled before asking what time they needed us out, and they said, by 10 a.m. We're meeting an old work colleague that we don't know that well. They added that it would be weird to bring us along, so feeling expelled, my partner and I left. We had breakfast alone, and then we walked around before driving home. The whole thing stung our visit, and it didn't seem to matter. The South African barbecue and drinks were clearly happening with or without us. I later brought it up and got a lukewarm response, which hurt even more. Fast forward to a few days ago, they came to stay with us for one night because we were all attending a show, though we weren't sitting together. At the show, traffic was ridiculous, and we exited at different times. I phoned to ask where they were at so that we could meet up. Their response was, "We've ordered an Uber and are heading back to your place. We're ahead of the crowd." I was stunned, and I said, "What in the world? No, you have to wait for me." They argued that waiting would delay them for hours, and I replied, "And I won't be stuck too?" But they jumped in their Uber and left. Furious, cold, and stranded in a weird part of London at night, I called my partner and told him what happened and asked him not to let them in until I got home. He was appalled and agreed. Instead of pretending to be asleep, he happily played his game, ignoring their knocking, and waited until I arrived home 3 hours later. It took me that long to find an Uber after getting on another bus that edged me closer to home. When I finally arrived, the nonsense that they gave me was intense, but I was too tired and angry to engage. They stormed off to bed and left the next morning without saying goodbye. At first, I felt fine about it, but now word's gotten around, and I'm wondering if my revenge was too much. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
I don't think so. I mean, it's also worth noting that OP and her brother and his wife arrived all together. So there was a reasonable expectation that they would be going back together.
Yeah.
It seems like they just decided they wanted to skip the traffic and they didn't care what happened to OP. It seems like they're very selfish people and they don't really care about OP beyond a convenience. Like, she has a house near where they want to stay. Okay, we'll come see her, but not otherwise.
Yeah.
And so I can understand why OP was hurt about being stranded. This is also an unfamiliar place she's stranded in, a woman alone at night, and they are not concerned at all about that. And so, yeah, I don't blame her for not wanting them to be cozy in her home while she's stuck trying to get home.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty entitled of them to have just wandered off without OP, especially since they all arrived at the same time. And it makes me wonder why they didn't have tickets all at the same area.
I think they weren't planning on going together, and brother and his wife just decided, oh, it would be convenient to stay at OP's so we don't have to pay for a hotel.
Yeah, and that might be the case. But I find it odd, like, because clearly OP was planning on going to this concert, and because her husband isn't going, and so it kind of confuses me about whether they had made these plans together or not, and whether or not, OP had been intending on sitting in the same location as them, but maybe they ordered or exchanged their tickets or something like that. It's really difficult for, to know that part of the story, right? But as for stranding them outside, I don't know. It was really in poor taste of them to leave OP behind like that. And I can certainly understand OP's frustration. And this also kind of sets a message that if you disrespect me, then we're going to disrespect you, right?
Right, because it just seems like they're the kind of people who are happy to walk all over OP, They'll let her into their life if it's convenient to them, but otherwise, it doesn't seem like they make any effort for her. Honestly, she might be better just going low or no contact with them.
Yeah. I mean, I know that eye for eye makes the world blind, right? And but back to but to what you're saying, yeah, this is not a great relationship. It doesn't seem like they respect OP. It doesn't seem like they like OP. And if someone did this to me, I would just assume that they would not want to be around me at that
Mm-hmm.
point in time, right? I would not invite them to my place after this, and I would not be friendly with them after this point, right?
Right. Well, and I'm guessing that OP probably doesn't have a car herself or her boyfriend. It's very common in cities like London not to have one. Because
Hmm.
I was like, why didn't her boyfriend get her? But then I was like, they probably don't have a car. Because like what I would do, like Brian wouldn't be able to answer the door because he would be picking me up.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's it. Is right. I mean, I might even have just tried getting an Uber to find you anyways,
yeah.
right? At that point in time, because I wouldn't be happy about that situation. So it would have been a natural consequence of them getting locked out.
Mm-hmm.
And be like, oh, sorry, I'm not going to be home because you guys took off. And that's how I would have driven the spite home,
Mm-hmm.
because I would happily wander around looking for Amber while they sat outside the house freezing after pulling a stunt like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. Misguided hero. Maybe, maybe. I think the wheel might be onto something here. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Will I be a jerk if I propose to my girlfriend with an engagement ring set with a diamond made from my late wife's ashes, but didn't tell her its history? Throw away because I don't want this tied back to my main account. So I'm a 43-year-old male, and I met my soulmate in college. We started dating and were together our junior and senior years. Though we were young, we decided to get married shortly after we graduated. We both got jobs out of school and developed nice careers. She was a teacher and me an engineer. Unfortunately, we couldn't have any children, but that didn't matter, as we had each other and our families, as well as various nieces and nephews. We were married for 14 wonderful years until she developed cancer and passed away 8 years ago. As you imagine, I was heartbroken. So I could always remember her and have a part of her with me. I had her ashes made into a beautiful 1 carat diamond that I've treasured ever since. Both my and her parents knew, but other than them, I didn't tell anyone else. It took me a long time to shake myself out of the funk socially. However, my friends finally convinced me that I should start dating once again, and about 4 years ago I did that. It was hard at first since I never really played the dating scene, having married so early. 2 years ago, some friends fixed me up with Ginny, a 38-year-old female who had lost her husband to a brain tumor a couple of years prior. They also were childless. We bonded over our mutual losses, dated for a year, and then she moved in with me about 12 months ago. Both my family and hers are very happy for us and think that we make a nice couple. Fast forward to the present, I've decided to propose to Ginny and had a beautiful engagement ring made with a diamond made from my wife's ashes. I talked to my parents and I told them that I was going to propose, and I showed them the engagement ring. My mom seemingly recognized the diamond immediately and seemed rather taken aback. She demanded to know if it was the diamond made from my wife's ashes. When I confirmed that it was, she calmly asked if Ginny knew about the diamond. Of course I hadn't told her, and I wasn't planning to tell her where it came from other than it had been in the family and meant something special to me, which is why I wanted her to have it. My mother went ballistic, telling me that I would be a jerk if I gave Ginny the diamond, particularly if I didn't tell her where it came from. My dad, while not as vocal, agrees with her that I should be open about the diamond. He also took me aside and said that my mother may have mentioned something to my sisters about the diamond, even though she was told not to. So there is some chance that it should leak out inadvertently. So will I be a jerk if I propose to Ginny with a diamond engagement ring made from my dead wife's ashes, but didn't tell her about the history? I mean, if she doesn't know, it won't hurt her, but it would mean a lot to me. If she finds out, she might be honored, but then again, it might be upsetting. All right, folks, what do you think?
Yes, you're the jerk and you know it. if you did not think that it would be upsetting to her, you would tell her the history. Like, if this really matters so much to her, to you, talk to her, tell her the story, and ask her if she would be okay with it. And
Yeah.
if she says no, respect that. Because, people are going to have different feelings about that. A lot of people would be very upset with that idea. But she has a right to know where this diamond is coming from.
Imagine if they were getting divorced
Mm-hmm.
sometime in the future and this all played out. And then he has to also explain to her as they're getting divorced that, oh, by the way, can I actually have the diamond back in the ring? I'll get it replaced for you. It's made out of my dead wife's ashes.
Well, I mean, it's not even a smart move to use this in the engagement ring if it means so much to him.
Yeah.
Because, once you give a gift, you can't always get it back.
Yeah.
And, like, imagine having to go to court and, like, fight over that.
Yeah. I mean, the judge would have like a wild time with that too,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think that OP would be making a fundamental mistake. I also think that OP, if they think that she would be honored by this, should approach their partner
Mm-hmm.
and explain the origin of this ring so that she can feel honored by it and not blindsided by it,
Yeah.
right? But then again, like even suggesting this, she might feel guilty and feel obligated to
Mm-hmm.
take the diamond, even though it might cause resentment. So I don't think that it's a good idea.
No, and like, why does it matter so much that she wears the ring? Like, it may be because OP doesn't wear diamonds, but isn't there some other way he can incorporate the diamond into something he sees?
Yeah.
It just seems like he wants to see the diamond maybe and have it in his life as like, oh, there's my wife on my new wife's finger. I don't know. It feels a little very weird to me, but you
He's
know.
imbuing the spirit of his former wife into his new wife.
Yeah.
She shall be the new wife. I mean, if OP is really this concerned about putting this into a ring, he should put it into a ring for himself.
Right. Or, maybe make some kind of like little, little like glass cases, like put it into like a little glass
Mhm.
case or something where he can see it,
Yeah.
where it's still his, he still has access to it.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that it isn't there now,
Mhm.
right? And I mean, I don't think it is because it's not like this has ever come up. I think if I were, in his position, it would be on like a mantle or something like that in like a clear see-through box or something that, you could look upon.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it seems odd that his instinct is to kind of hide it away.
Mm-hmm.
And also he has had it was like everyone's sworn to secrecy about this.
It also feels really weird. Like, it's not the norm, but it's not that uncommon to have ashes turned into diamonds,
Yeah.
and maybe his family has some very strong feelings about that, certain members, but it does seem the sworn to secrecy bit does seem very strange.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Evil Sock Lady says, you're the jerk. You're lying to your bride-to-be. You're giving her a diamond that you more or less picked out for you and your late wife, and not for her. If the reason is that you want to give your new wife a super meaningful token, while misguided, that's better. But the fact that you don't intend to tell her makes me think that you're just too cheap to buy her own diamond. But looking at this all pragmatically instead, not every marriage lasts. Women often take the rings. If you and Ginny don't last, which I can see as a possibility considering that you're starting your marriage off with a lie, I would think that the diamond is something that you wouldn't want to lose. And OP replies, I've done well enough financially in my career that I could afford a larger diamond if I wanted to. So it really isn't about being cheap. The diamond is very meaningful to me, which is why I wanted her to have it. But I hadn't really thought about the possibility that I could lose it forever. Well, I'm glad somebody thought of that.
Yeah.
All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for kicking my boyfriend out because he didn't take me to my oral surgery? Recently, I had oral surgery to get my wisdom teeth removed, and I needed a designated driver. I asked my boyfriend if he could take me, and he said that he would find out if he could. Over the past few days, he seemed excited about the idea, even joking about wanting to see how I would be under anesthesia. Fast forward to this morning, the day of the surgery, I asked him if he was still going to take me, and he said no. He told me that he needed a haircut for a presentation that he has tomorrow, as his rubric says that he should be well groomed. For some context, I think that his hair already looks fine, but he said that he doesn't like it. Luckily, I had a backup plan and I asked another friend to take me, but I was still really upset. I told him that I wanted him there and I was hurt that he backed out at the last minute. He told me that it wasn't his obligation to take me and pointed out that I had other people who could step in, so I shouldn't be mad. I feel conflicted. I get that it's not technically his obligation, but I also feel like as my boyfriend, he should want to prioritize something as important as a medical procedure over a haircut. At the same time, I understand his perspective that he needs to feel confident and professional for his presentation. We were talking about it when I was dropping him off to classes, and he said that I was being dramatic, so I kicked him out of my car. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. He bailed on you last minute, and I think this seems like it's probably a bigger pattern than the relationship. The fact that Opie had a backup person ready to go, the fact that she had to keep routinely asking him if he was going to take her, like, either she has a lot of anxiety, or he is a very flaky person, and this is not the first time he's left her high and dry.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm wondering as well. Like, if somebody commits to something, generally you don't continue to ask them about it, right? And the fact that he did back out at the very last minute kind of maybe makes me think that this isn't the first time that he's backed out last minute on something. But maybe OP was hoping that it was an important enough thing this time
Right.
that he would prioritize it.
Oral surgery is a big deal, and I can definitely understand being hurt that her partner decided last minute, oh yeah, I'm gonna go get a haircut. I know I've had this presentation scheduled for a while and I could have gotten a haircut on a different day or at a different time, but I'm gonna skip taking you to oral surgery so I can get my haircut.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here. And Amber, she has a joke.
Knock, knock.
I'm too busy drinking tea. I can't answer the door.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Ketchup.
Ketchup who?
Catch up with me so I can tell you.
No. But this sounds like doorbell and dash type of thing. Not good. Don't ring people's doorbells and then leave.
Is that your moral for the day?
Yes, it is. And I have licorice spice. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Special Sunday, folks. And you know what makes it special? You do, and Amber does too.
And Brian does too.
Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance. And please have it on respect in relationships.
Respectful relationships often include dependability, honesty, and some give and take.
Yeah. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.